Welcome back. I'm just going to put a few finishing touches to the repair section I've made for the sill. If you've seen the previous videos, you'd have seen me fabricating this. As usual, I'm lying on my, well actually I'm not lying, I'm on my hands and knees, but it's just, this needs to be completely flat. And I just need to just put a tiny bit more radius in here. We've got a drain hole which just needs a little bit of cleaning up, not much, you know, just, in fact, it just, more than anything, it just needs a very delicate filing. So I don't want any tiny burrs. It's going to be very smooth metal. The tiniest little burrs will trap moisture, and the last thing we want is moisture. And here we go. Just because I've been hitting this quite a lot, it will have stretched. It's stretched. It's, you know, the stretching's caused the curve, but it will also cause the panel to grow in length. It was trimmed to the perfect size, but when I offer this up to the body, it will be about 1.5 to 2 millimeters too long. So I'm going to have to take a tiny bit off, just here. Not a problem, you know, but I just, you know, when it's completely sort of tapped into shape, there's just little tiny burrs. You can see these little burrs. I'll be able to file those out. But what I need to do, I just need to flatten this. Let's have a look. Looking down the length of the panel. There's just a slight, just here. It's very slightly curved, so I need to flatten that. And when I flatten that, I need to recurve this. So I'll be using this hammer with the curved head. You know, hitting it. Which way will I be hitting it? Hitting it and dragging it. So let me just flatten first, and then we'll put some more shape and curve back in. You don't need to hit very hard. This is an extremely hard and heavy weight, and it's a hard planishing hammer. So you don't need to smash and crash. Just tiny little taps is all it takes. See, if you hit it too hard, you stretch the material. You know, it just stretches. And if it stretches, it curves where you don't want it to curve. So, got a couple of little dots here. Let's just, there we go. There we go. There's a couple of little dots. I think these have been caused by the little tiny G clamps I made. Just maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter what's caused them, but. There's definitely little dots and bumps that we don't want. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's better. So I need this edge to be as straight as possible. It does. Which way does it flick? It flicks out slightly that way, so we can easily bring that down. Now then, we need to put more radius in. So the way to get the radius is to basically stretch this edge. In fact, I'm going to do it. Take this off the weight. I'm going to see if I can do it from the outside. I did it last week by stretching the inside, using the curve of this hammer. It's flat and then it's curved that way. So striking, and at the strike, dragging the material. I'm just going to see if it might work. Let's have a look. I'm just going to use a tiny hammer. I'm just going to place a little bit of tension either side, and I'm going to sort of tap all the way along this ridge. The only place, see, look, if we bring it up, it doesn't fit the weight. The only area that's making contact is along that ridge. I do need to make that ridge slightly straight. I've done it by hand, you know, just by I've put a weight in and just sort of tapped along here. It's quite a crude method. You'd normally stick that in a pair of, you know, in a folder, but I don't have any folders. So let's see. Let's just lie this down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tension just with my fingers and then hit right along here. Actually, that's not where I want it to be. I've just taken the fold out. That's not what I want to do. That was a mistake. What I'm supposed to be doing is hitting it on the peak of the curve. So I'll have to put that fold back in. Let's just try somewhere else. See if I can. So of course, when you hit it, the metal's got to stretch, and it needs to go somewhere. If it stretches in the middle, it causes the panel to bow. So a lot of faffing about. So if you keep the hammer completely flat, it doesn't leave gashes. If you go in and hit it on the rim, it leaves gashes everywhere. So you really do need to keep the hammer very, very flat against the workpiece. That's okay. All right, I'm going to go back to doing the way I did before. This is the edge I'm wanting to stretch. So use the stretching hammer. Not really going to be possible, to be honest with you now, because the radius is quite tight, and it's the radius is tighter than that of the hammer. So I'm going to end up, if I'm not careful, taking radius out. Yeah, definitely going to end up taking radius out if I do it from the inside. So I have to persevere and do it from the outside. just by putting a little bit of tension. And each hit, each blow causes a minute stretch. And if you keep tension, it will make this area rise, and the edges will flip down. And people wonder why restorations are expensive. Yeah, this kind of level of attention, if you're having this done in a workshop, well, first of all, finding somebody that works the old-fashioned way and doesn't just cut the panels off and weld new panels on. It's eye-wateringly expensive to have restorations done these days. Well, any time, you literally hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of labour, and it's a costly exercise. This is a labour of love. Obviously, the vehicle is not valuable enough to justify such a restoration I'm putting into it. But obviously, I'm not costing my own hours out to myself. I'm just I've been at work all day, and I'm just doing 2 or 3 hours on the car before it gets dark, and I'm trying to do that a lot, really. Just spend my evenings when I'm with the car. About half the time I'm away at my other home, the car gets left behind. So I can't work on it every night, but perhaps half of the week I can. There we go. These slight little dinks and dents, they will rub out with a body file. They're very minute. I can spend a little bit more time and try and do a bit more with the hammer and the weight, but ultimately the heat is going to cause some distortion. So it doesn't pay to be too fussy, but I think that's probably close enough. We've got the drain hole that will fit against the original sill flange is still there. So it will fit onto the original sill flange. But obviously this will all be new, and the sill flange is still there. That's going to remain original. Right, I'm going to offer this up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to trim a tiny bit of one of the edges, millimetre, 2 millimetres perhaps, because it was almost definitely would have grown in length as I've been shaping this. It's not only is it stretched and caused the curve, it will have grown a tiny little bit of width, and that it now won't fit. So I haven't tried it yet, but I know that'll be the case. That it's an awkward sort of trying to get the camera underneath the car to show you that is very awkward. Because I lie the camera down, then all you'll see is the back of my head when I lie in the way.